Would you like to stay here and listen to this? Because I know you've got lots of things to ask for. So we've got our next guest, and he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been, you know the whole story. Now he's got a book out called Things Kids Say to Santa, and he's written it under the pen name Jim Pollard. You know, people have to do that. You got to do the contracts and all that business. You know him, though, better as Santa Claus. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, I'm so glad to be here this morning.
How was the flight from the North Pole? Did you come from the North Pole?
Well, I came from the North Pole by way of Kentucky, though.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I hear it's beautiful this time.
It is.
You like
really
to escape to the warm climates.
Well, I tell everybody, though, I had someone send me an email one day when Santa really lived in Kentucky, and I told him it's my country home, and I spend a lot of time in the off-season there.
Yeah, because you make some pretty decent money. I mean,
That's right.
And you deserve it. You do a lot of good things
Right.
for little kids. So you are so busy, especially now. How did you find time to write a book?
Well, the book is an accumulation of stories over a lot of years, because what happened was these kids started telling me these stories and started telling these things, just like Art Linkletter in his program, Kids Say the Darndest Things. And that's where we got the idea for the book.
Yeah, which again is called Things Kids Say to Santa and Other Stories. So what are some of the most common things that kids are asking?
Well, this year, of course, Hokey Pokey Elmo was big.
Oh, yeah, of
And,
course.
and for the older kids, the Xbox, I call them boxes, and it's the Xbox, the PS2, all the different ones that are big.
What's the weirdest request you've ever received?
Probably the weirdest
clean,
request that I ever had was from a girl who jumped up in my lap and she said, Santa, what I really want this year is a Garth Brooks concert in my backyard.
Oh, was she a little kid or an adult?
She was probably about 7 or 8 years old. Yeah, about 7 or 8 years old, and that's what she wanted. But then I guess one of the other great requests, and it's pretty clean, is that the kids, when they got through talking to me, they said, now, Santa, can you bring Mom and Dad some pajamas because they don't have anything to sleep in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh, you know, these little kids these days, they get X-rated.
No, they're pretty sharp today.
What, though, do you say to kids when, I mean, is there, actually, I should ask you first, is there anything that you can't bring little kids that might be watching, you know, like the Garth Brooks concert?
They need to understand that I can only bring them what their parents okay. And so this
But I mean, a Garth Brooks concert, that sounds like something a parent would say, oh, I guess because it was in the backyard.
Right, but then I told her that she probably wouldn't get it that year also. And they need to understand, especially if it's a live animal, that their parents have to okay it, different things like that. The only time that I tell a kid that they're really going to get something is if their parent is there giving me the okay.
Right,
and I know that it's going to be. And sometimes it's very difficult to find some of these toys because they wait so late to ask for them.
Oh, yeah, I completely understand
that are in great demand. But I guess, you know, there's a lot of stories, and one of them was like this kid that was running down the mall, and I was at the booth there, and he stopped, and he said, hey, Santa, and I said, hey, he said, Santa, what's my name? And I said, I looked at him, and I scratched my head, and I pointed, and I said, John, and it was. And it blew his mind.
Well, you are the real Santa Claus.
That's right.
And
Thank you very much.
We got to go. Just ahead, Saddam's capture, a big step towards securing Iraq in the world.